Thank you. Yes, good afternoon, everybody. It is Friday, March 17, 2023. This is a special meeting of the Waterville Valley Board of Selectmen. I'm Rich Rita, the chair, and we will be in the process of selecting the chair and the vice chair as one of the first order of business. But here with me today is Bob Freeze, select board member, and our newest member. What's your name? No.
Wendy Rathhaber.
Wendy Rathhaber. Welcome,
The last
welcome.
name's always intimidating.
Yes.
Okay.
welcome to the board, and we look forward to working with you.
Thank you.
And if these two old fossils can do it, it should be a breeze for you, I think. So welcome. Okay, so we have a quorum. I think the first order of business is officers of this particular board. So
I move that Rich become chairman,
thanks.
or continue to be chairman.
I will second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. So do I have a motion for vice chair?
I'll move that Bob serve as vice chair.
Shall I second it, or I will second the motion? I don't know, you were staring at me like.
Well, I didn't think I should second my own
Okay,
nomination.
all in favor?
I
Okay, so also I think we've discussed this earlier. I will retain the position as the select board ex officio on the planning board.
Okay,
And Wendy will fill in or become the select board representative to the town core working group.
okay,
And I will back up her, and she could back up me, because there's a lot of work that
sure.
since the town core working group, at least at this point, is a planning board committee.
Okay.
So I think that sets all the appointments as far as this board is concerned. Now we have some other appointments to deal with today. I see we have a request from a Mr. Paul Ricotta.
Yeah, and these requests are in addition to the ones, and I should have said something to you, but they're in addition to
To
the
Kathy
ones that
Brennan
we
and-
provided you.
Right.
on Wednesday.
Okay, so I'll dispose of Mr. Ricotta here, and then we'll get to those two, right? Those
Yes,
two.
there were two up.
So he would like to become an alternate member of the Conservation Commission. And I take it he fits all requirements to be a member. So I'll make the motion to appoint Paul Ricotta as an alternate to the Conservation Commission. Have a second?
Anybody know him? I'm just curious.
I know him somewhat.
Okay.
Because he lives in, or his daughter has worked for us at the cafe. And
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
I think he's active on the board at Windsor Hill, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay,
So.
I'll second.
all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
I've got so many jokes about Ricotta, but he's probably heard him. Just as bad as my last name, so. Okay, Mr. Ricotta is hereby appointed to the Conservation Commission as an alternate. And I believe we had two email requests to the select board from Kathy Brennan and Jenny Lucas, both residents of Waterville Valley, to become alternate members of the Waterville Valley Select Board. Is any
Want him to be a
Kathy,
full-time member?
we have a full-time member, which would be Wendy's vacated.
So do we want, well, okay, the question is all right, so we're not, the
So what are
planning
you
board doesn't
doing?
want to move up.
So what,
So essentially, we have two alternates, right? Morgan Dean
And Alan Burko.
right,
As well as, so it would.
Everyone-
seem appropriate to move up an alternate. That's
Right.
usually how we've done it.
yep,
to
so
a
that would
full-time
be your
position.
decision. Which one do you want to move up?
I mean, I would support Morgan just because she's been there very consistently and is always very prepared. Anytime we have any confusion about anything, she has her computer, she searches for the answer and has it. I mean, you've been there.
Yeah, no, she has experience on the planning board for what, a year now?
A little shy of that.
A little
but it's
shy of a
okay.
year?
Yeah.
So it would be, and I understand Alan would prefer to remain an alternate at this point.
Oh, okay.
Has Morgan indicated whether she would like to
She had
move up?
indicated to me that she'd be happy to move up to be a Full-time.
full-time
yeah.
position.
Okay, and then so we would have 3 vacancies then.
Correct,
Right,
on the,
so-
as
Alternates.
alternates.
So Morgan moves up to replace Wendy. Well, and actually, that's for a 3-year term because your
Yeah.
term had expired.
Yeah.
At the end of town meeting.
Yeah.
Okay. So Morgan will move into the 2026 position. And then we have John Racine, whose term ended at town meeting. So he would need to be reappointed
Right,
and
has
he had said.
he's, okay,
he said
so,
that he's okay with being.
so we would reappoint
Yes.
him as a permanent, excuse me,
Okay.
a full
A
member,
full member, yeah.
and then we have these 2
And then
requests.
we have a total now of a 2026 alternate, a 2025 alternate and a 2024 alternate. So there's 1, 2, and 3.
Okay,
members.
because they are staggered, so,
They are staggered.
So you got Lucas and you got Brennan. And
You got
who was the third
Lucas,
one?
Brennan, and then
If-
Mr. Ricard, oh no.
no,
he was
well,
conservation.
Margaret, if she follows up,
Margaret
she would
also
be the.
emailed.
She
Margaret
did.
also emailed.
Oh, okay, I didn't see that, so we should add
Yeah.
her name to
Yeah.
the,
So they would become the 3 alternates.
the 3 alternates, we just have to decide what years
Which-
we want to, and we have any indication whether any of them indicated.
No,
Why don't you give
mean-
Kathy Brennan a 3-year?
Yeah, we don't really have much history of asking anyone not to.
Right, if they want to resign, they just,
yeah, they
they
wanna
just,
resign,
they
they
just
can
resign.
Yeah,
Okay, we can have Kathy, put
so
Kathy
Kathy
in
for the
the
3-year.
3-year and,
And Mr. I'm gonna do
Yeah.
that. And then. Jenny as the 2-year.
that's fine, and Margaret
for
as the 1 year, and then it's just a matter of reappointing
Sure.
Margaret if she decides to
Yep.
stay.
one.
And so the planning board will have to decide among its members, it's 11 members, right?
Yeah.
Who they wish to be
11
the,
total.
So do the alternates show up at every meeting?
in theory,
Yeah.
They should.
requested to,
They
They
should
should.
because they need to be ready to step
Sure.
in.
exactly.
so, and then the planning board at its April meeting will be able to decide its officers.
They choose
A new
their
chair from the
Chair,
membership
vice chair and secretary.
secretary.
Mhm.
All right, with all that discussion, for the record, it's all,
You would just need to vote that that's. the
that's what we
planning
want, it's
board.
there for the record, it's all been said.
So I'll move that slate.
Okay, I will second that motion to move the slate candidates as we discussed, all in favor?
All right,
Aye, okay,
All right, and then the ZBA. Has 2 members, Barbara Prendergast and as a full member and Cindy Picos as an alternate. That their terms expired at
Mhm,
town meeting,
mhm.
so you would reappoint them pending. If, I mean, no one's indicated they're gonna resign.
Okay.
Okay.
Do I have a motion to reappoint Cindy and Barbara to the ZBA?
Yeah, I'll move that we reappoint Barbara to a full position and Sydney to an alternate.
Okay.
Second.
All in favor?
all right.
I,
All right,
And
you're on permanently, unless you tell us otherwise.
you're on
Yes.
permanent.
You're-
And then
Yeah.
for the Concom, we have Charles Hastings. And as a full member and Cindy Picos as an alternate,
They need to get
That would
They need to be
whose
reappointed.
terms are up.
Okay, so I
Okay.
will, any discussion? Are we good? Okay, so I will move to appoint Charles Hastings as full. Reappoint Charles Hastings as full and who was the alternate? I'm sorry.
Cindy.
Cindy
Oh,
Picos.
that's right, Cindy Picos as the alternate. Yeah, so, okay,
Second.
all in favor?
I,
Right.
Aye,
Okay, and then, so Mr. Ricotta. There are 2 alternate vacancies, a
Ah.
24 and a 25. I'd recommend appointing him to the 25.
right,
And then we just need to announce to everybody that we still have 1 vacancy on the Conservation Commission as an alternate
right.
position.
And really, it's going to be a commitment for a year,
It would be a
commitment for a year.
Yeah.
There is interest, Garrett has said, but she hasn't told me who.
Okay,
Okay,
well, we'll see if who she's
Good.
drummed up.
and then just to note
Great.
it for the record, the only other town board is the Community Power Committee. They don't have specific terms, but just, so I think it would just be good to be on the record that you're reappointing the existing members.
Okay, should we
To the
create terms?
committee.
Is it,
maybe we can talk to Kim about that.
All right, but if
and
that's a
get
good
some
idea.
Feedback from her.
Right, give it a little bit
Okay.
more structure that
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go ahead and just reappoint the current members. Do you want to list their names for the record?
Or Kimberly Rawson, Linda Coleman, Terry Roper, Eric Levy, Kelly Cannon, Alan Burko, David McCabe, and Tom Prendergast.
Okay, I'll move that we reappoint all said individuals.
I'll second
Okay,
that.
all in favor? Aye.
Very good. I think we're good.
We're done with other. All right. So let's move on to other business. Review town meeting results. Okay, anybody have any comments, hear anything?
How was the turnout for ballot versus attendance at the town
One
meeting?
55
155
to 122.
122 at town meeting,
150.
Well, 122 voting, and
right,
then we had several non-voting residents
Sure,
and the
sure.
staff, so.
Okay.
right.
I'd
Fewer.
estimate about 100.
It was fewer, but it's interesting, the difference was about the 30
Yeah,
absentee
Yeah,
balance, but I'm sure there were people who had absentee balance because of the snow day.
There,
It showed up for on Wednesday, so.
true.
How does that compare with other years?
higher than prior years.
I was gonna guess we had 200 here, but I guess not.
Well, I think we were probably between 150 and 160 with everybody there.
Yeah.
With the non-voters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, there were a lot of people.
Good job and from the town staff standpoint. From the stuff.
Yes.
Yeah,
Excellent.
yeah, I certainly at this point would like to recognize the town moderator for an excellent job and for town manager and town staff for all the arrangements that were necessary to allow that
It's a
the
lot of-
town moderator
lot
to
of
have
work.
Yeah.
Lot
to
of
have
work.
such a smoothly running meeting. I can only think of a couple times where it devolved a little bit, but that's because of the audience. And the town moderator quickly got it back under control.
And when she told me I couldn't speak.
That's right.
No.
No means no.
No means no.
It is the town moderator's meeting, and as she said at the outset, it'll be run by Patty's rules, so
Yep.
that's the way it
It's
is.
good,
Yeah.
and she was very clear about it. It's awesome.
It was, yeah. I am a little concerned that one of those instances I thought where it got confusing was over the amendments to the noise ordinance, and
Yeah.
it's not clear to me. I was confused at the time. I went back and listened to it, and the votes were clear. There's no doubt about it, but it's not clear to me that people understood that what they were really voting for a
Well,
couple of times.
what I'd like to do, if it's all right with you, is to have Steve and Patrick and Dave look at the ordinance and actually take the ordinance and take the motions that were
Right.
made and voted on and come up with the wording, because we didn't really. I think to some extent, we may have said the wording that people wanted, but there was a definite intent about what they wanted to
That's
have
right.
done.
Yeah,
So I just like you guys to draft up how you think we meet the intent. And then at the meeting next week, we can review that and make sure. Because actually the amended ordinances need to come into the board next week and be signed for the records.
Sure.
So is that all right? if
That's
we
fine by
do
me, you
that? And
guys.
then you guys
Good
at
with
your
that.
leisure can, if you want, watch the meeting or look at your notes, whatever you wrote down.
Yeah.
And then we can compare that.
Yeah,
to
just
what
let us
they
know
drafted.
when your meetings when you guys meet to discuss.
No, there,
Oh,
no,
Friday meeting is at what time? Next
1 o'clock.
one of them.
Oh, you guys will get
So
together. You're talking about.
they're gonna get together as staff and they're
And we-
gonna draft up.
Okay, you're talking about town meeting, re-looking at
Yeah, if you guys want to look at town.
and try to
meeting,
understand what.
Make
was-
sure you're clear in your minds
Got it.
what you think happened.
Got it.
And then we'll
Yeah.
draft it up.
Yeah, it's up online for those who all 6 hours and 40 minutes of it, but you can't fast forward in the video world, right? In the virtual world.
Another
is-
2 days, Bob. Don't worry.
Yeah, I
I
would just,
don't want you to miss out those budget meetings.
Sometimes I have trouble sleeping.
right,
That'll
you might,
solve it.
that'll definitely solve
That'll
it, but
solve it.
yeah, I mean, there was amendment to an amendment and it was just
Yeah.
got a little bit confusing and I don't know that people realize that, as I understood it. construction by construction companies and is now allowed on Sundays.
Yes. And that's the kind of thing I want to get.
Well, it's really a noise ordinance.
It's a noise.
It's a noise ordinance.
So in theory, they could have done construction on Sundays.
They had,
As long as they were inside.
it was
Right, yeah.
inside, right,
Right.
but no, we're talking about the
The
earth
regular,
movers and the
yeah.
dump trucks and
Yeah.
the beep, beep, beep and the
Everything.
everything that, all the staple guns, the nail guns, I should say, that you hear on, that's now allowed, as I understand it, that's what the town voted for, so. Yeah, let's see, clarify the language of that anyway, and we also have to, I guess we can, next week, we can select which holidays that.
Yeah, and Tim Smith did contact me and he'd like to provide you with kind of his suggestions.
Sure.
For that list before you adopt it, but whatever you want to do, I've asked him to get that to me
Sure,
as early next week as he can.
yeah,
So,
because it's already
have
into
it
March of the
before
year,
Friday.
so.
I don't think we have the option to pick any days. I think it's our list is based on federal holidays.
Right.
Well, but that isn't what I heard.
All right. we need to
I
clarify
thought
that.
that people
Right.
wanted federal holidays, but they were gonna leave it up, or did they change that in the
Well,
amendment?
I thought it was the federal holidays chosen by the select board.
Yeah, I think it's
Yeah, so
federal
it's-
holidays chosen by you. So.
That's right.
Right,
I agree with that.
but it has to be a federal
It has to be a
holiday.
federal
But it
holiday.
has to be a federal
Right,
holiday, right?
right.
But I got the impression that they were okay with you saying that it did, that the allowance does not include necessarily every federal holiday.
We would choose,
Still.
right, there are
Yeah.
10 federal holidays or 11?
11, I think.
I think they're up to 11 now, so we get to choose from those 11.
Yeah.
Which will, on what days we will not allow unreasonable noise during the day
Right.
is the proper way to say it. But it's really, we're
I
really
mean, they
talking
gave you a
about,
little bit of guidance on what they were thinking, but they
Right.
left it up to you.
they left it, that's right. The question was asked, I think, at the
Yeah.
meeting itself. The other,
Mark, sorry.
Yeah.
Do we have a deadline to meet for when those ordinances need to be scribed?
Well,
Would Friday be too late to look at drafts?
No, I think that they're in effect, the changes are in effect as of the vote.
Okay,
We just need to complete the record and have the actual document so that we have something to put up,
and it's clear, people
and
can,
it's-
something
yeah,
they can
that
read.
it's clear.
but we're okay looking at drafts on Friday with maybe.
Well, I think
finalization
if
for the
you
fall.
if you can draft them earlier in the week, we'll distribute them
Okay.
and make sure
Yeah.
that we've captured everything that you want in it, so.
Yeah, I think there,
Yeah.
there were no real changes to any
Yeah.
of the ordinances, as I recall.
I mean, there's a few words here and there, and that
Right,
was,
but nothing
Nothing got amended.
substantive, right, it was cosmetic.
right.
The other question that was well, I've heard from a couple other people is concerning what, if anything, can be done to revisit the land purchase.
Okay, so I have that answer for you as.
All
of
right, let's do
today.
it.
So Steve and I spoke with town council. The motion to restrict reconsideration that we made was proper,
Right,
and we did in fact restrict reconsideration, but it only applies to that day,
correct,
okay? And it does not restrict any other motions to reconsider. So
okay,
someone else could have stood up and said, I would like to reconsider article whatever, okay? If that motion had passed, the vote on that reconsideration, because your motion passed, the vote on the article, the next vote on the article has to be at least 7 days
okay,
after that
but that
meeting.
motion was not made.
Right,
Right,
But a second motion
Was
to
not made.
reconsider was not made.
right.
So as soon as town meeting is adjourned, it's over.
Okay,
And no more reconsiderations can occur.
right, and it doesn't matter that it's a bond versus
Does not matter. No.
other form of,
No,
So that 7-day limit is only to enforce if there is a motion to reconsider.
that passes.
that,
correct.
that
Yeah,
passes, right?
so
Right.
if something's been
Right.
restricted,
Right,
You can still reconsider it, but it's gotta be 7 days later because you gotta give notice to people who do
Right.
have left.
right.
Right, because you don't want people. right,
And it can be a month, and
At least 7.
we don't, it has to be at least 7.
7, okay.
No,
There's
yeah, yeah.
no, but we would want to do them as quickly as possible because they
They're
affect
hanging.
the
sure.
budget and they're
Sure.
hanging.
And is
That's
that vote to
interesting.
reconsider a simple majority?
The vote to reconsider is a simple majority. It does not change the 60% requirement
In this case,
on
right,
or for a bond issue. But it would be another ballot vote for an
Right.
hour, at least 7
so
days.
a vote to
Yeah.
reconsider would mean we would all gather whatever day that we chose
Whatever
and
to-
revisit and
That's correct.
revote
That's correct.
again, and the
And
vote could change.
Yeah, and unfortunately, the statute here doesn't say that at the time you vote to reconsider, you don't have to set the date, but I would strongly
Mm.
encourage the town to pick a date right then that everybody knows about.
Because these are the people who
Even though
voted.
the
Right.
statute says it can be any
Right.
time after the 7 days.
Okay, that's something
Um,
maybe we can plan for.
But I would still try to, and I told Patty the same thing, so that if it ever comes up again.
Yeah,
She
Yeah,
would
that's
encourage,
interesting.
but town meeting can say, yeah, just whenever you
right,
get around to it.
but we may want to have such a possible date in mind if we know there's a
Oh, And that's
controversial
the other thing,
issue
going
coming.
into the meeting, you should
Should
have a
have-
couple of
Yeah.
dates
in-
to suggest to town.
So it's off the table then for,
It's off the table for the year.
Well, what's off the table is the language that we're not, I'm struggling to remember the language, there was so many, but we're not allowed to negotiate a purchase and sales agreement
Correct,
to purchase the property.
correct,
So that is what's off the table.
yes.
Is a donation off the table? I had that question asked.
Ooh, I don't know. I'd be careful because
It would seem to go
If
against
it-
the intent.
it would, I will
If
check with town council, but I would say it would go against the intent of town meeting.
Right,
And I mean, I think you have been given the authority to accept donations.
this is where that's
And-
why I was asked,
But I'd be very careful in this case.
right?
Um,
We should just find out because the question may come up.
Yeah.
I mean, I've not talked to him about, other than someone asked me, well, can't the current owner, since it failed, you can't negotiate it, can he just give it to the town? And my initial response was, I don't think so, but we need to check because the town meeting, quite clearly, the vote was not to acquire the land.
right,
well, not to bond.
not to
Not
acquire the
bond,
land.
see
That's what you get into. Was that the only objection? I mean, if it was all about the money and it was rejected because of the money,
Well, several people said it was because of the money and.
but other
several
people said it was
said
because
we
of
just don't
potential
want-
legal exposure.
So
So
there was
that's,
kind of a two-part,
yeah,
Yeah.
that's where it gets,
Yeah.
I think, difficult. But if that could be checked on, just for due diligence, so.
yeah,
Well-
we'll have that answer next
I
Friday.
mean, if the current owner put it in a conservation easement for the benefit of the town or something.
Well, that's the kind of thing we need to ask about.
Right, that would be the
is-
kind of donation.
Yeah.
I think,
And if
You
it
go
was
forward.
tested, I mean. The testing and the money were the two things, so if it were tested
Right.
and it were donated,
Right.
that would seem to.
I mean, I think, so we have the power to accept donations, so we could say we potentially. We will accept this donation, however, under these conditions, and one of the conditions could be. We want the soil tested, or we want X, Y, Z, whatever X, Y, Z is.
Yeah,
So the donor would get a tax benefit,
yeah,
assuming he can use the tax benefit. Maybe he could use it to offset the sales of some other properties.
Right.
Okay,
So if we can just run those down, so that when, if the question comes for us, we'll be able to move on it,
Well, the,
whatever way, one way or
Well,
whatever's legal.
I mean, is it worth running it down until we know that he's actually got an interest in that?
well, it'd be
Or
good. to
someone could
know.
ask.
I think we need to know.
Okay.
I'd like to have an answer if a resident were to ask,
Yeah.
officially stand in front of us
Mhm.
officially and ask.
Okay.
Anything else on town meeting? that you'd like to
Uh,
mention,
I want to make sure.
anything strike you? Something we need to do
Uh,
better?
Stan, you have a copy, Stan had sent us an email.
Sorry, I
With
didn't,
some thoughts.
Okay, I
So
think I,
just looking, we don't need to talk about them. They're right there. Those two things.
these 2 pages,
Yeah.
I got it,
So
right.
just look through them and I spoke to him and he said to tell the board that he was very appreciative of the way town meeting was handled and
Who's
the
that?
preparation
Stan
stand.
Pecos.
Stan Pecos. Okay,
It's like-
so just something he'd like us to read,
He would.
okay?
Yep.
I'm always happy to read.
Yep.
Especially from Stan.
Yep.
On money.
Yep.
Absolutely. So anything else, Wendy, you were kind of sitting back there, way
Yeah,
back
yeah,
there,
yeah,
observing,
no.
did anything strike you as good, bad, or ugly?
No, I thought it was really well run. I mean, of course, there was a lot to work through,
Yeah,
but for the most part, there was a little bit of repetition and. There's no way to make attending of it, preparatory meetings ahead of time mandatory.
Mandatory.
So that'd be the only thing that would help things.
We could have a merit demerit system and
Right, you can
you
talk
have
an
to
extra 3
earn,
minutes if
right,
you attend.
yeah, or you earn a special colored.
this is
card,
sounding
which-
very much like Chinese Communist
Yeah.
Party approach to
I'm
or
totally kidding.
the
for
old
anyone
Russian Communist
who's
Party.
watching.
Yes.
I'm 100% kidding.
Maybe we can have, like, when we have yes, no votes, we can
Right.
have separate boxes. You
Separate
put your yes,
boxes, the yes.
this is where you put your yes vote in front of everybody, and this is where you put your no vote.
I
It's
mean,
like-
I guess my only other thought, along those lines, thinking because of the public engagement,
Yeah.
housing academies stuff going through and. How do we encourage people to engage more with like just these, the regular meetings?
Mhm.
And I wasn't sure if maybe,
Oh, actually, I have a little
oh,
wigwag article that I've drafted up.
okay,
For you to look at and we can discuss it. If whenever you want, but unfortunately, this afternoon is the deadline, so
yeah,
I didn't realize that until.
Well, we better discuss it now.
But anyway, it does, I tried to, first of all, it was a thank you to the residents and voters for. Taking 6 hours out of their life that they can never get back and participating in it. But also encouraging them, like you were just saying.
yeah, or I'm
So-
wondering if like we could just take better advantage of all the different communication methods, like.
Mhm.
I'm thinking of the community
Mhm.
meetings, I always end up just watching them after.
Yeah.
And I know you always mention when the meetings are, but I'm wondering if it's worth driving the point home of,
Well,
we will be
with the
talking
big,
about this.
well, but
this.
also with the big projects.
Yeah.
My had planned to be more in-depth with what I talked about at the community meetings
Okay.
going forward, but especially with the. Transfer station move and everything,
Right,
so.
right,
Yeah, I think your penultimate paragraph here is making that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So please, if you can't come to the meetings, perhaps you
least
can,
tell
you
us.
listen, or tell us, or you can listen to
Yeah.
most of them.
Mhm.
Almost all of them actually are recorded.
Right.
Yeah.
And, you could be making dinner and listening to.
Yeah.
Or you can be trying to sleep and listening to them. This might seep in as to what we're discussing. Yeah,
This looks pretty good
I
to me.
I
Yeah,
think
no,
it's,
it looks
I think
good.
it's fine.
Too late to get it to them?
No, I'll get it,
I
I'll
think
send
that-
it to
yeah.
Mike.
Yep, no,
Yeah.
I think that's a nice thank you to everybody for participating and. Our hope that people will participate more during the year, so it's more perhaps an informed discussion. at
Well,
times.
it's more of a discussion because you can, even though we were there for 6 hours,
Right.
it still was a pretty limited discussion on most of. the
Yeah, I mean, if you're,
Yeah.
right, that's what I meant by an informed discussion, it's a better discussion.
Right.
When people are really informed about what went on before and.
Okay.
Yeah, I too am trying to think of ways to be better about getting the word out.
I
Maybe
know.
we can brainstorm about that
Yeah.
a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay,
And,
so,
so the final thing for town meeting is
Mhm.
we have to report to the state what was actually approved.
Right.
And that's called the MS 232.
okay,
And if you
We need
could sign
signatures.
those, please, we'll fill them in and submit those.
okay, so you just want the signature.
And I guess a vote
Need
to
your
be
pen.
on the record. that
Sure,
you-
all right. So I'd like to make a motion to accept this report of appropriations actually voted by the town of Waterville Valley, otherwise known as MS-232. To be submitted
To do already.
to DRA as required by state statutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yeah.
Okay. Very good. So, we done with town meeting? Anyone else want to mention anything about town meeting? We'll get to do it again next year.
Mhm.
Yeah. You do it more often, right? Maybe not.
Well, it would be one way to get the conversation.
Well, to get
Steady.
people interested, right, to come and participate. All right, so the next item on our schedule today is review the DOT public hearing notice. I see there's a letter to me
There is.
and I've not, it's the first time I've seen it, so.
Yeah.
If you,
So
to explain?
it's, yeah, there's DOT is required to hold a public informational meeting on the rehabilitation of the bridge on Route 49 over the Mad River in Thornton.
which one, which bridge is that? Is that the one down
big
by
one.
the,
Down by
Right.
Chickenboro Road.
okay, so yeah, right across from the
Yeah.
trailer.
And the deck replacement design and traffic control strategy is gonna be presented at the meeting. Because Route 49 is really the only way in
Yeah.
and out of town. It significantly impacts us, so we get invited as a community. To this hearing. And the hearing will be March 29th at 6:30 PM. At the Thornton Town Hall meeting room. And that is 16 Merrill Access Road, otherwise known as just off of Route 3 in Thornton.
So,
So they're gonna tear up. They're gonna tear up the pavement and redo it?
Yeah.
Is that what they're gonna do?
Well, it's a red list bridge, so they're actually rebuilding the bridge.
Really?
Yeah.
So will that be a detour all? the
Well,
way
that's
around?
what they're gonna
That's what
tell
they're
us, and there's only one detour, which is to
Yeah.
go up Burbank
and then come
Hill.
down upper,
And then
Up on
Mad
Mad
River.
River,
Mad
come down
River,
to the.
which is dirt, but
Yeah.
yeah, so there will be some of this period of time of repair when 49 will not be accessible between Chickenboro Road and what we call 6 Mile
So
turnaround.
do we know when they're
Right.
proposing to do it?
No, they're gonna go over the
Right.
schedule and they're gonna
Okay.
talk about how that's gonna work.
Should
So
we,
oh, sorry,
No,
is
please.
this just where they tell us what's happening or do they take feedback? In terms
Well,
of-
I'm sure they're gonna allow us to comment, but they're gonna tell us what the plan is.
Hmm.
So.
I think it'd be
I
important for
think
actually
if they
from,
got a lot of commentary
It
from
would.
public safety and all of that,
right,
what,
I was just thinking weight limits on those dirt roads back there with the construction. We had those.
well, I
was about to say-
those are all we gotta see what the schedule is, because if they're not working in the spring because the Mad River's high, then it may not be an issue, but again, until we know the schedule, we won't be able to comment on it.
But
if
then
we
it's
have-
an issue because it's summer and we got high.
Well,
traffic
we got
coming
high
in.
Well, a
traffic.
lot of
and-
visitors
Yeah,
coming, so it seems to me this would be a good meeting to have someone from DPS and DPW.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
To
We'll-
go, because they'll be
we'll
able to
definitely-
note if,
Mhm.
understand what's
Yep.
being said and what the impact is, especially with regard to safety or
Yep.
load limit, and remind them if they, or make a comment to them that if you do it this way, then
Right,
this is not good for us for this reason,
right.
okay?
it's not really mad with 2 Ds, is it?
No, it is not.
Okay, I didn't think,
It is not.
okay,
But just so everyone knows, a red list bridge is a bridge that is deficient and needs to be repaired.
I wonder why.
immediately.
It's
it's-
not that old.
Well, it's not that old and maybe it was damaged during Irene and they didn't realize it or
Patched
something.
it.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It could be anything, but it's a red list bridge, so.
Okay,
And then, is any other questions on that? One other thing for a signature. That's not not on here,
Okay.
getting called out is in your packet right
Mhm.
there is a signature sheet for the Waterville Valley Hazard Mitigation Plan.
Got it.
It gets updated every couple of years. Dave Noyes has gone through the report, and we can take time during maybe a department head update at an upcoming meeting, or however you want to do it. You guys, we can PDF it to you so that you can see the whole thing. But he has made some changes from 2021, mostly regarding things like the impact of COVID and other things that are upcoming changes with the employee housing project and the gondola and some
That may be,
of the major conceptual development things that we've seen. The hazard mitigation plan is really just our list of
Mhm.
things that could potentially impact us in the future. They're not generally, or they're not ongoing things right now. They're things like natural weather events or other natural disasters or man-made disasters like any fire or a propane truck that tips over on Route 49 is one of the things, because blocking Route 49 impacts our one-way in and out, right, during the winter. So those sorts of things have been listed out. And then we have strategies associated with those hazards of how we would handle those
Mm.
and what we might do between now and if they ever happen to mitigate them.
right.
So one of the things with like the truck example, the propane truck. One of the things that we've done is we put in the mitigation plan that we continually tell the Forest Service that we want the other end of Triple I Road paved
Mhm.
and open year round, because that would mitigate the one-way in and out
Mhm.
of town. It's not gonna, doesn't mean it's gonna happen, but at least we're on the record to say this is a potential hazard and this is one of the things we think you should do to mitigate it.
Right.
So it's used by when considering us for FEMA grants and
Mhm.
other federal funding. If it comes up, it puts it on the radar for the Forest Service. And you know, if they're making plans, like they do have some repairs and upgrades to Triple I that they are talking about now. It's very far out in the future, but at least we,
So who sees
because of
this?
this plan. The state emergency management, FEMA sees it. And the Forest Service, we share it with anyone who's mentioned in it.
There are things in the plan that you train against.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, training is one of the mitigating
Mhm.
actions.
Now, so for the different action items, are the actual action items listed out somewhere?
And they're in the plan. We'll get Dave to send a copy
Okay.
to you. Yeah. Yeah, because Bob and Wendy, you weren't here in 21
Last day.
when we
Yeah.
adopted it, but this signature is just to send in Dave's comments. It's countersigned by the chair of the Board of Selectmen. So before I ask Rich to sign it, I just want to make sure all three of
Right.
you.
Do you need a motion to?
You can make a motion, but they haven't had a chance to look at the plan yet. It's mostly to just submit the signature. You're
Right.
not necessarily concurring with everything until you've had a
All right.
chance
You
to-
you guys fine with that?
Yeah.
Good. Alrighty. So we're done with DOT public hearing notice and that issue. Okay, calendar reviews, so upcoming select board meeting schedule. So I think with our next meeting, it's actually our regular meeting that we moved from the 22nd to the 24th. And we moved the time to 1 PM. Is that correct? Is that what everybody has?
Yep.
So 1 PM on the 24th is our next regularly scheduled meeting. And then our next scheduled meeting after that, it'd go back to our normal schedule, will be
Second,
So I think we should ask
Yeah.
Wendy whether she's okay with the
second and fourth
second,
Wednesdays.
fourth at 3
Yeah.
PM.
Yeah,
that's been the standard.
All right,
yeah, I
Right.
think that works.
All right.
because you've got businesses to run and,
Yeah,
Well, thank you for the consideration, but I think,
You're
Tuesday,
good,
Wednesdays
so-
are always, the
Better
better
to-
days.
right.
Okay.
so it'll be Wednesdays at 3 o'clock will be our standard, the second and fourth Wednesdays. And that's the only time we ever meet.
Well, that's true.
Yeah,
Good, good to know.
good to know, yeah. Yeah,
No, we're not signing any
Yeah.
promises.
I'll sign anything. It may not be in my name, but I'm saying,
Donald Duck.
yeah,
I'll never go more than 90 minutes either.
yeah, they're very quick in and out.
Can I ask about the town core working group, or is that better to talk about?
Don't know, go ahead, yeah.
I'm wondering if that needs to remain a planning board working group, or if there's a way to establish a bit more flexibility as to who leads that. I just. Our planning board participation has been low, and perhaps it will rebound a little bit, but right now. Nancy's the only person on there, and I'm not sure that she's. Gung ho about taking on a chair position for that group, and I would hate to see anything flounder just for lack of direction.
So you were the chair of that group as well as, the chair of
Yeah.
the planning board.
Nancy Knight.
Yeah,
So it could be any member of the planning board, yeah.
Well, it's an ad hoc group, so
Right.
it's whatever the three of you want it to
Right.
be. And the chair can be whoever the three of you want it to be. There's nothing statutory
Right,
that prohibits you
Right.
from appointing anyone to that committee, because it's a purely town committee.
committee, right.
So
even though it initiated as. part
even
of the
though it
planning board
initiated,
and
yeah,
Gets
Right.
reported, so.
I
that
mean, the
they'll-
planning board doesn't have authority to. appoint
No, but
anyone,
it's,
so-
it would
other
be
than
interesting to see
the
what,
CIP
see, what I
for
would say
that.
to recommend perhaps.
Yeah, recommend to the planning board whatever you want.
Well, I was thinking the other way around, that the
Or
planning
they
board
can
could recommend,
recommend
is there
to you.
somebody on the planning board who'd be
Right.
interested in being the chair, but you're talking about something. A little bit more radical, right? Like moving it
Well,
out of the planning board,
Not necessarily moving it out of, but, well, I don't know, just making sure that there's consistency. Nancy and I have been, kind of the. Initial members of that group, because we
Right.
were part of doing the SE group. Original study and doing those interviews and whatnot. There are a couple other members of the working group who have been on steadily, but it's been very much a rotating cast, depending on who needs to be involved for the different aspects of the discussion. So, yeah, I
If
wasn't
if
sure.
You're gonna continue to be on it representing us. Do you want to continue to chair it?
I would be willing to, if that's
I think
appropriate.
That makes, that would make
I
more
think
sense.
that's
You can
exactly
do
what I was
whatever
thinking.
Okay.
You talked yourself into a. Into,
Continuing on.
right, continuing as a chair,
So
right,
Who else is on it, Tom?
Yeah, Tom Gross, usually Tim Smith and James Sununu attend, Brooke, for the rec. Ian's always invited, from the resort is always invited, rarely attends, Dan Newton's always invited, doesn't always get there, so we try to get people who are like, involved.
different
with the
stakeholders
movement
on,
Through,
right.
but yes,
And it's not an unimportant board, I mean, just for the record, I mean, you guys have gone through that village pedestrian study and are trying to,
yeah, well, I mean, that was a promise we made the town, right? The
Right.
$90,000 would not just sit on a shelf somewhere.
right,
It
you're
will
working your
be-
way through it.
Yeah, exactly.
And that provides input to us on things like road repair and paving and
Yeah,
such.
And
Which is going to be huge.
Yeah.
this year.
and I do think it's important to continue to reach out to the planning board to see if others who are now being appointed perhaps would be interested in joining. Because it's always good to have whatever, up to three
Okay.
planning board members. Right, we've avoided the quorum that way, but
Yeah,
I
many
just wanted-
times, we get questions from the Concom about road projects and drainage and how they're, they're linked together.
yeah,
So you may want to reach out to Erin and see if a member of the,
well, I had
Concom.
asked John to consider it.
yeah, okay.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, he would be a twofer if he were to,
Yeah,
because he can, he's on both the Conservation Commission and the planning.
but now
board.
Jenny would as well.
Now, Jen.
That's true, that's true.
Mhm.
Well, what I can do as the select board ex officio for the planning board raises issue with the new chair once he or she is selected.
Great.
And see if we can get someone to commit to.
And I think, we had a lot of people during the budget
Right.
process, from February on. Provide input, and if
Yeah.
there's anyone out there who would like to participate. Send us an email
Right.
or come in and see us and we'll,
Mhm.
Right, someone
Talk
who
to the
can
group.
attend regularly.
Yeah,
I think that's the
attend
biggest thing is there's,
Mhm.
you know. Nancy,
That's always the
Tom and
key.
I are usually, and Brooke are usually
Yeah.
like the core who show up.
Core
and,
of the
you
core.
know, Tim for the most part, but it's still, it fluctuates so much month, and it's only once a month.
I was gonna say, do you have a monthly?
Yeah, we've been doing the second Tuesdays of the month at 12:30 to try to accommodate schedules. Um,
All right,
you know,
all right, I will bring that to the planning board and ask for someone from the planning board to consider being a regular
yeah,
attendee for
Okay.
something like this is. It is something that the planning board should, especially this year, as you said, should be involved. Okay, and if if it's, we've mentioned a couple people, they could also cover for the, if one were one of them, it could cover for the Conservation
Mhm.
Commission, if not. We don't have any limits in the number of people we have in that, right? I mean, you don't want to be too unwieldy, but if,
right,
yeah,
Well, if there's a core that's identified as the regular members,
Right.
the more people
who
we have,
participate,
the
the
better.
better, but you want to have your,
that.
Course.
regular-
Just have your core.
Course.
I don't think you should go beyond 5 or 7
right,
for that core,
Right.
that's the actual appointed members.
right,
And then when you have a quorum or not,
Right,
so.
okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, not a problem. Our annual strategic planning meeting,
Well, we would like to come back in April. So we're just asking you to look at your calendars other than, and here we go with number 3 in April. But
it's an aberration, though, this
we're-
doesn't happen to us.
We're a year out from the last time we did it, and we have a lot of input at town meeting, and we have a lot of big projects coming up, so. We need to get priorities squared away as soon as we can. Otherwise, we're gonna be halfway through the year.
So last year we did it on the 20th, the 21st, was it something like that? Trying to think,
Yeah, but
It was the 11th,
was the 11th?
I believe so.
yeah, I think it was.
Yes, it was 11th April, you're exactly correct.
I'm here, so it doesn't make any. I'm
The
pretty,
10th.
pretty
the
good
10th
anytime.
Would be awesome. We'll keep it on this at the same time.
Like,
You close Mondays and Tuesdays and
I mean, yeah, we're pretty much the only thing we have carpeting being installed that week, so, but the 10th I think would work if it were maybe. Afternoon.
That was a 9 to 3.
it's usually,
It was
it's a full day,
A full day.
yeah, we go someplace and
Oh, okay.
talk all day.
So it needs to be that week.
Well, it
No,
doesn't
No,
it
need
doesn't,
to be.
no.
Okay.
no,
We do
Sometime
Is
in
the
April.
next week, okay?
If the next week could work, just because there's a lot of displays to move before they put the carpeting down,
How about the 17th?
if that works for everyone.
What day of the week is that?
that's a
That's okay.
Monday, April 17th.
Yeah.
I'm good on that day.
We'll
Good for everybody,
Department heads know.
the 4/17.
Yeah, we'll stay 9 to 3 and see how
Right.
much time we need to take.
Any idea where you'd like to?
No, let's go back to
To
Village. I thought
Village.
that was a good
Yeah,
setup
I thought that,
and worked pretty well.
it's just whatever works for the audio visual too, you know, that you guys, department heads want to throw stuff up there and to talk to. I don't think,
I don't think we
We did,
did,
but
I
if you
think we
wanted
had
to-
it printed out and,
yeah,
you know, we basically had a
Right.
list of things to talk about. It really is more of a strategic conceptual
Yeah.
thing. But we can look at a projector or whatever. we
If you want, I'm
if
just
we
saying, if
wanna
the,
do it. But
if anybody wanted to
Yeah.
make a little presentation, you know,
Yeah.
as part of their.
Are the results of last year's meeting somewhere where I could just take a look to
Yes,
get an idea?
we have a
yeah, let me
spreadsheet
look through.
I know we have a
let me look
spreadsheet.
through What I have.
of the main items that we
Yeah.
agreed that we wanted to try to
You have
tackle.
that, right? You can provide it to her.
That'd be great.
I have a copy. of
There
my
is an
records,
action
too.
plan, actually.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of, right? That spreadsheet.
And I think we need to send it to all of us, department heads and selectmen and. Because we're driving Steve crazy because. Because we need to be referring to that like during the year and
Right.
saying, and then having some other periodic. Kind of
Review.
evaluations and reviews of
Sure.
that. So,
Good, yeah, just make that part of the packet for that meeting.
Yeah.
Or something to get ahead of time, so.
Yeah.
That works. Okay. Has any other business for the public portion of our special
Can we
meeting?
get a transportation system, I mean, you know, the transfer station design before I think you said we could
Yes.
talk about it the next.
Yeah.
Can we get a copy of it before hand
Yes.
to look at?
yes, I will send that to you. We just submitted to the final design to DES, so I will get you a copy of that.
And along those lines, we have a date for the 90%. Engineering,
Not
and
a,
yet,
not a date yet, right?
I asked today, actually,
Okay,
I asked the engineer.
because I know every time it's been slipping, you know, it was
Yeah.
January, then it was February,
Yeah.
now it's March. So nothing,
December to January to March.
yeah, well, that's right, it goes back a little.
I went
Right.
into the wastewater treatment plant website we set up to update some information that we have in there.
Yeah.
That was date driven and I noticed we're a little behind with that, so I asked Joe
Okay,
to update us.
yeah, I was thinking similarly.
Dylan, do you have anything else to talk about?
I don't think so.
We're Dylan's fighting the good fight on the water project. We're snails, we are a bunch
Oh.
of snails racing to the finish line on the water project.
Where's that,
Yeah.
well, yeah,
Well,
go ahead, what's up?
Trying to pick up the slack.
Yeah,
That's basically what I'm doing.
right, getting the contractor to finish the darn thing.
Yeah.
Basically,
Yeah.
Just trying to get everyone's efforts coordinated together. and
Yeah.
try to get this wrapped up as soon as I can.
good,
Thank
good. Think it'd be in their interest, right? We haven't paid them,
we have not paid them
Yeah,
in
so-
They have a lot
several
of money
months.
left on the table, so
They have,
their efforts only hurting them more than anything. so.
and we're not talking a
No. and
lot of
we
work
have
here.
Time on our side because this partial substantial completion date is 3/24, this year. So,
It's next, well,
next Friday.
next
yeah.
Friday.
so they need to show at least a concerted effort and work towards that as well as they can. That's my outlook on it anyway, so.
Tell them that Sundays are available now.
Yeah. But,
Including jackhammering,
yes,
they want to do.
I'm sorry, but that's the truth.
Yep.
It'd be, well, actually, I was thinking about this in terms of our road paving project. I don't know if they're gonna want to do anything on a Sunday, but
we
if they're
do
up
have-
against,
We do have.
The scheduling.
meeting scheduled.
Right.
for Wednesday
They-
next week.
Yeah.
So we'll be hopefully getting a schedule from Pittsburgh. According
Good.
to what we've been told verbally, they're gonna have a schedule of that meeting, so.
that would help a lot if that ordinance didn't change between now and the end of the construction for the wastewater plant.
Yes.
Days-
Yeah. 7 days a week. Sure, why?
Yeah.
it's,
The older I get, the more I want to work.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, that's something more under our control, right? Because we
Yes, it
can
is.
say, no, as part of the contract, you will not work on
That's
Sunday.
right.
That's a contract with us. Okay, anything else in public? You'd
No.
like to talk about? Alrighty, can I have a motion to go into non-public at 3:29?
So moved.
All in
Second,
favor?
Aye.
Aye. Let us know, Sharon, when the,
Go on, stay.
Yeah, do you need?
No, I'm fine. I was
No,
just
go
making
ahead.
sure you're looking at it.
No, go ahead. I was trying to think